Hello, my name is Miguel Flores. I'm calling in because I want to expose corruption here in the San Joaquin Valley. The things I went through when I went through the court system and all that. And my job, the company I was working for, I was the lead mechanic in the union shop stores. As a lead mechanic in the shop store, my main concern was safety around that, where I work at. So I got burned by the steam field area in 2003. Now, when I was there, I wanted to fix a line, a steam line, a 2-inch line with had a butterfly. With vibration, the butterfly get loose. And in 2002, it keeps snapping off, so I'm always fixing it during my shift, during the season. So in 2003, I said, I gotta fix it. In April, I approached my supervisor. He had, by the steam field area, he had my mechanic 1 and 3 modify the line from a 4 to 6, opening it up. So I figured when they open that, they make it bigger, it's gonna cause more pressure on that 2-inch line, and that vibration, the butterfly is going to get loose. So I told my supervisor, hey, I want to change that butterfly to a double bolt clamp and change that, put all double bolt. So that way, that 2-inch line vibration, it won't snap, just like we got in the sterilizer. But my supervisor said that he was a boss, and I said, hey, I'm a lead mechanic union shop steward. My main concern is supposed to safety. Now, he goes, well, I am your boss. So I said, okay. And I made it clear to him, if the line ever snaps, if somebody get burned, it's going to be on him, because I already reported to him in front of mechanic 1 and 3 as a witness. Now during the season 2003, the line snapped, and I was working by the field area, me and my assistant mechanics. All of a sudden we were called on the radio that they have problems by the steam field area. So me and my assistant mechanic, we went to the steam field area. I turned off all the constant line, and the steam line, it backtracked and it got me. I got second, third degree burn. From there, I approached, they called the first aid. We went to the restroom. From the restroom, we went to the flash coolers. For the flash coolers, the water was hot, so we went to the pit area. The water's cold. So I had the water hose, put it in my leg. I got second, third degree burn. I put it in my leg, and all of a sudden I looked at my assistant manager was there, and my assistant mechanic, and there were other people there present. I looked at the first aid, and I said, hey, you gonna call paramedics, or are you gonna take me to the hospital? She goes, no, can you find a ride and call somebody to pick you up? I looked at my manager, and I said, is she for reals? He got mad, he cussed at, and he left, went to the pit, went to the plant, looked for a ride. All of a sudden, third shift came in, and they looked, they go, what happened? I said, hey, I got second, third degree burn by the steam field, a 2-inch line snap. I didn't get him burned, and the first aid refused to call the ambulance, refused to take me to the hospital, and they were mad too at her, because she refused. So all of a sudden, they left. All of a sudden, my assistant mechanic, my manager came back, and I told him, hey, I already got my ride, third shift is here. Now, my assistant mechanic will drive me in my own truck to the hospital. So my assistant mechanic took me to Madera Hospital, driving me to Madera Hospital. There in Madera, when I got there, I was in the waiting room. And all these people see me in burn, and they see me in pain. So they went and knocked at the door, and they go, hey, I want you to take him before you take my son, because he's burned and all that, and he's in a lot of pain. So all of a sudden, the nurses came, and they took me in, and they go, hey, you're supposed to go in an ambulance. They're supposed to take you to the burn center. And I said, no, the first aid refused to call the ambulance, refused to take me. So they were mad at the first aid. They called to the plant, and they were mad at her because she was supposed to call the paramedics to take me to the burn center. So the doctors in Madera only had they had the equipment for my burn. So they put me ice and water and gave me some pain pills. And the following morning, I had to drive myself to the burn center. And from there in the burn center, Fresno, at the community, they had to put a skin graft on my leg. They put a wrap up my leg and everything, send me home. When I was home, I was in pain. And then the following day at night, I felt more pain. So when I went to the restroom, I couldn't stand up. And I was falling down, and all of a sudden, I crawled myself to the living room. And that morning, my brother came, my sister, my dad. And my sister goes, well, let's go, we're gonna take you to the doctor. And but before they took me, I called the company, and I asked the front office if they could call somebody to drive me to the hospital. But they said, no, I'm sorry, you're on your own. They refused to help me. So all of a sudden, my dad and my brother put a blanket outside, and I had to crawl back of the seat and get on. And my brother drove me to the community hospital at the burn center. And then from there, they called, and they took me on a wheelchair, drove in to the back, and all of a sudden the doctor looked at my leg, and they go, hey, your leg got infection, either we're gonna have to do surgery on it, or else you're gonna lose that leg. So I said, I don't wanna lose that leg, please do whatever you gotta do to my leg to save it. So it was, they did surgery. I had a skin graft taken out from one leg and put in my other leg to save my leg. After that, I was in the hospital about 2 weeks and a half. From there, I went back home. Now, I called OSHA because the company never notified OSHA about me being burned. I got burned 7/30/03. So I notified OSHA 11/03. OSHA district manager and the field guy had no report of me being burned. So what they did, he sent his field guy. He sent his field guy to the plant to find the company. So he goes, right here, I'm here at the plant. I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna investigate where you got burned. So I was recovering from surgery at home. Finally, the company wanted me to go back to work that year. So I had to go back for a little while. My leg couldn't do it, so I went back home. The following year, I went back to work. February, I called OSHA district manager and I told him, hey, what happened to me cannot happen to nobody else. If somebody get injured or somebody get burned, they gotta call paramedics or they gotta take him. They cannot abandon him like they abandoned me. And OSHA district manager in charge of Fresno Madera County goes, hey, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Well, he lied, because in 2004, I saved 2 ladies from burning their face. If I wasn't in there, there would have been temperature 400 degrees, they would have been deformed from their face. I helped another young lady get to the hospital because they refused to call the ambulance, refused to take her. They told her to find a ride to Los Banos. I had to push, called my union rep. He called personnel and they took her to the doctor. And she thanked me for helping her. And that year, on 7/18/04, they let a young kid die. He showed up to work second shift. He came with pain, he asked for help. Supervisor called the first aid. The first aid were present. All of a sudden they called, somebody called paramedics. My paramedic was canceled. They kept the young kid for 2 hours and a half. He got into a coma and he died. There was no police report, no OSHA, nothing. I notified OSHA three weeks later. And I got a copy of that report. Now, after all this, my leg couldn't do it no more. I had to say goodbye to my job on April of 2005. I had to say goodbye because my leg couldn't do it. So after all that, I finally I got a lawyer to help me out through workers' comp. And during that time, I called OSHA district manager, and I told him, hey, I need a copy of that report when you send your field guy to the plant to find the company in 11/03. Can I have a copy? He goes, Mr. Flores, what do I got to do to make you happy? I said, hey, this is district manager in charge of Fresno Madera County. He goes, yes. You want to make me happy? He goes, yes. I said, do the paperwork. He goes, we dropped the ball, Mr. Flores. We dropped the ball. But he meant by dropping the ball is that the insurance and the company convinced him to hide the paperwork. Because the company is supposed to be fined. Because when you get injured and the company don't report in 24 hours, it's automatic a fine. So this happened, I got burned 7/30/03. I reported 11/03, so it's automatic a fine when he sent his field guy. So he said he lost the paperwork. So all of a sudden, during that year, I got a lawyer trying to help me out, but on the Silver and Wolferness case, the lawyer couldn't help me. So I represent myself at the workers' comp on 4/7/2010 through July the 12th, 2010. It was a 2-day workers' comp. During court at the workers' comp, I had 6 people on the stand those 2 days. It was really 7, but 6 people confessed 2 false reports and they tampered with the transcript. Let me give you an example. I had a safety management on the stand doing a false report to the state. And I said, Your Honor, this safety management did a false report to the state, and that's a serious violation, lying to the state. And that safety doing a false report, lying on the paperwork. So the judge goes, sir, is that your signature? That person goes, no, Your Honor, they forged my name 8 times. And I looked at that person, I said, sir, you're under oath, you're perjured. No, Your Honor, they forged my name. Your Honor, they forged my name. 5 minutes later, I give the judge another piece of paper, person's signature. Judge goes, sir, that looked at your signature. That person goes, no, Your Honor, they forged my name. Your Honor, they forged my name. All of a sudden, 5 minutes later, that person goes, okay, Your Honor, it is my name. I did do it, that's perjury. By doing a false report to the state board, lying on the paperwork, and then perjure yourself in court in front of the judge, telling the judge they forged his name. At the end, okay, Your Honor, it is my name. I did do it, that's perjury. I had 6 people confess in court, 2 false reports. I had 6 people confess 2 false reports in court. This is what I wanted in court. I showed the judge. This is what I wanted. This is the butterfly on the 2-inch line. What I want to do is put a double bow clamp. By putting a double bow clamp, the 2-inch line will not snap and nobody will get burned. But my supervisor decided to keep that butterfly. And by keeping the butterfly, that's when I end up getting burned, second, third degree burn. If he would have changed that to a double bolt clamp, and he was notified by assistant manager to change it, and he was notified by me to change it before the season started, but he refused. He refused to listen to me, a lead mechanic, shop steward, and he refused to listen to assistant manager. Now, this line, if he would have put the double bolt clamp, I wouldn't have been burned, I would have been working. But since he refused, I ended up getting burned, second, third degree burn. So I had 6 people perjure themselves, 2 false reports. 3 weeks went by, and I said, well, these people, 6 people confessed, 2 false, I won this case. 3 weeks went by, the judge goes, not enough evidence. So I'm like, what do you mean not enough evidence? So I sent my paperwork to the state board, workers' comp. The judge sent his. So all of a sudden, the workers' comp judge out there, they went along with that judge. Now, like, something's wrong here. So I said to myself, I got to get a hold of before I said, I'm going to go ahead and take it to a jury, try to get a jury to look at it. I did my papers on January of 2012, and the company did their paperwork on February of 2012. Now, before this, I did my paperwork on 2008, and I asked for a jury at the Fulton Mall. The company lawyers, insurance lawyers did not show up out there by the Fulton Mall in 2008, and that judge fined them for not appearing in court. And after that, that judge told me in 2008 December, he goes, Flores, your case is going to be heard through a jury, because I'm entitled to a jury by Constitution. And I was happy. 2009, I show up to court at the Fresno Silver Court, and all of a sudden, the judge dismissed it. Even the arbitration guy couldn't understand why he dismissed the case. Because by the Constitution, I'm entitled to a jury. But this judge dismissed it. So I went back to the workers' comp, and there I went through workers' comp court, and there I found nothing but corruption. And from there, I went back to the Silver Court. On 2012, did my paper in January, the company did it in February. The company's date was set up for May the 2nd of 2012 at 3:30 p.m. Department 502 at 11 in Fresno Knoll Street. The judge were present. Now I show up to court on their date. They did not show up. They didn't call in on May of 2002. And I said, Your Honor, you know, they didn't call in, they win. They didn't call in, they didn't show up. You win by default. All of a sudden the judge ran straight to the back and hid. Now, right here, it has the company lawyers setting their date for May the 2nd. It has May the 2nd. They set it up for me to appear in court. Now, they didn't show up, they didn't call in, I went by default. Now, the judge ran straight to the back and he hid. I looked at the staff and I said, hey, I'm going by default. The staff goes, wait for the judge to come out. He never came out. He did a tenant ruling. And the tenant ruling that he did on May the 2nd, that judge, on tenant ruling, he gave the company 7 to 10 days to respond. Now, this is May the 2nd. Now, when he gave the paper, 2 weeks later, I get the paper from the judge, and he has him and the staff that he did the tenant ruling on May the 1st. That is corruption. How can it be done May the 1st when the party, the date was set up for May the 2nd? They didn't show up, they didn't call in. And why, if a judge knows the rules, why run to the back? Why hide? When somebody don't show up, you win by default. That was supposed to be like that. But this judge is the same judge that dismissed the case in 2009. This is the same judge that did it to me in 2002 when he went back to the hide. I should have won by default. So what I did, on May the 29th, I show up to court. And when I show up to court on May the 29th, I asked all these lawyers behind me. There was a female judge. I showed her the paperwork. And I showed her, she goes, Mr. Flores, this judge dismissed it. And I said, how could he, man? I was there in court. The party didn't show up, they call it. Then she goes, then you won. What did the judge do? I said, he ran straight to the back and hide. No, he did you wrong. Go back and appeal it. So I went back. I went to the front counter, took my paperwork, showed them like the papers that I did, had wanted them to stamp it. The girl in the front counter, they want to stamp it, and I said, hey, you know I won that case by default on May the 2nd. When they don't show up here, call in that you went automatic. And she didn't want to stamp it. And I said, hey, I'll get the DA to come in and get you guys for corruption. All of a sudden, she went and called her supervisor. Her supervisor came. And I said, well, you know what? She goes, I'm not going to stamp it. And I said, give me the papers. I'll take it to the DA. And I'll have them get you guys for corruption. Bang, they stamped it. Why? Because they knew I was telling the truth. They knew that you went by default. When you don't show up, you don't call in, you went automatic. Now, September the 6th, I show up at 3:30 p.m. at Department 501. There was another judge. This judge, I think he was a part-time judge, but he was up there. And I said, Your Honor, my case is supposed to be heard through a jury, because I'm entitled to a jury by the Constitution. Because what happened at a workers' comp, when 6 people confess 2 false reports, and they go tamper with the transcript. And Your Honor, what happened May the 2nd, when the party didn't show up, they didn't call in, the judge ran straight to the back and hide. This time I wanted jury, so the judge won't get involved, and they can't tamper with the transcript, Your Honor. This judge goes, Mr. Flores, you will never get to a jury, because I will stop you. And if you get by me, Mr. Flores, I will notify the other judge. And guess what, Mr. Flores? Me and the judges, we had you like that for 7 years, going in a circle. What do you think about it? So I looked at him. He wanted me to say something bad so he could try to get me for contempt. But I was respectable. I said, that's good, Your Honor. I'm glad that you and the other judges are working together to stop me. But Monday, Your Honor, I'm going to appeal it. And then he goes, Mr. Flores, Monday, I'm going to stop your waiver fee. So how are you going to pay your court fee when your income is 0? I got you, Mr. Flores. You might well give up. So I looked at the judge and I said, I got up and I looked at him. I said, Your Honor, is court's over? He goes, yeah, but what are you going to do? I said, well, if I go further up, you're going to notify the other judge. And in front of the bailiff, you made it clear that you guys had me like that for 7 years. And you violated my Constitution. So he goes, what are you going to do? Give up? I said, well, if I go up, you'll notify the other judge. And you made it clear you had me like that for 7 years. So court's over? He goes, yes. So I was leaving. Just when I was leaving, he asked the bailiff, hit the button. And the bailiff goes, why? She goes, hit the button. So just when I left, I was going to the elevator, all these sheriffs ran towards me. One tried to grab me, I pushed him back. They all circled me. They go, well, something happened. I said, nah, it was a judge playing the game. Seeing if I make a mistake, but I didn't. It was something to try to threaten me. So the sheriff's asking me down the elevators. But here's the one thing. When the sheriff's asking me down the elevators, here's one thing. The baiter, she has a gun, she has a stun gun, she has a mace. If I did anything wrong, how come she didn't approach me with her gun or her stun gun? No, she knew I didn't do nothing wrong. But it was a judge, because the judge was told to stop me from getting to a jury. But this judge violated my Constitution and threatened me. Now, the following year, the following year, 2014, they called me to jury duty. 2013, they called me to jury duty. I show up to jury duty, and I'm in the back. About July the 15th. I'm in the back. And there was, I believe, a judge dressed in clothes sitting in the back with us. And I'm right here talking to the other guy. There were 300 people. And I'm telling one guy, hey, you know what? I can't believe these people got me to jury duty when last year they violated my Constitution. They threatened me. And this judge that shows that film that by the Constitution you're entitled to a jury, then why they deny me? Why they threaten me? And they said, those 3 guys go, hey, they can't do that. That's against the law what they did to you, Mr. Flores. All of a sudden, that person that was sitting with us got up and left. All of a sudden at 10:30, me and those 3 guys that were talking, when I told them my story, we were sent home early for jury duty. They sent us home and I'm like, hey, I don't know, I want to talk to that judge that showed that film that one is entitled to the Constitution by a jury. So when I would try to talk to the staff, they wanted me in there. They sent me out, hey, you can leave, please leave. So I had to leave. So my next step, when that happened, my next step, I sent more papers to Attorney General, hoping she'd come in and investigate all this corruption that we have. Now, Attorney General, her staff, when I sent the paper, they went through it. And from there, I came back, and I was I'm not giving up, because I was told by other lawyers, I was trying to get other lawyers to help me out. But at least the lawyers keep telling me, you won your case, but I'm surprised you're still alive. And I say, hey, this is the United States. We are supposed to run against corruption? No, we go head on against corruption here in California, here in the United States. This is America. But one is stand for justice, liberty, and freedom. I have my soldiers, my nephews, and my brothers went to Iraq, Afghanistan, Bosnia. They fought for justice, liberty, and freedom just like these other soldiers did. Now, for this corruption that we have here in the San Joaquin Valley, and all these lawyers, no lawyer want to touch it because they keep telling them, hey, you won, but I'm surprised you're still alive. So you better be careful. They could send somebody after you and turn off your lights. And I say, hey, I'm not going to be afraid of them. Justice got to come through. Justice got to come through. And after that, I got some help. I sent a paper to Attorney General, her staff. They went through it. All of a sudden, I decided to get a hold of a California detective, a state California detective. So I showed the paperwork to a California state detective. Now this is California state detective in charge. Have all the authority here. Now this California detective went through my paperwork. I gave her all the evidence. She goes, oh, don't worry. We're going to get these people for what they did, and we're going to overturn your verdict, and we're going to get them for murder too. So we're going to go through all this, Mr. Ford. Don't worry. We'll get it. I say, hey, this company is big company. This company got 20 investors, the 20 owners in that company, and they got a lot of pull. See what they did to workers' comp. See what they did to other judges. Make them look the other way. He goes, don't worry. We'll get them. So when that California detective, 2 weeks, she asked for one paper. She was doing her investigation. I went back to give her a paper. She goes, Mr. Flores, my boss stopped me. My boss stopped me. And I'm like, what do you mean? You're the state of California. You're a detective. How could they stop you? He goes, my boss stopped me. So when insurance and companies could convince judges to look the other way and have stopped a California detective from doing her job, then there's corruption. Where lawyers in the valley is afraid to touch it because they're afraid to go head on against corruptions. I call lawyers from LA, from the Bay Area, to try to help me. They said, no, they don't want to come down here because they say it's too much corruption here. Now, we're the people here in California, in the valley. We got to stand up against corruption. We can't let this happen. This happened to a lot of other people besides me. We got to stand up to it. We can't look the other way. Because if we look the other way, there's going to be more people out there that they're going to do this to. And enough is enough. We got to stand up to this corruption here in the San Joaquin Valley. Now, Attorney General, I seen her paperwork. And 61 pages in January about this year. She received it, her staff went through it. And they looked at it and they go, all right, you're telling the truth, there is corruption, you did win and all that. And I said, hey, I need you guys to come in and help me. Well, I guess Attorney General, the state of California, her staff, I guess, didn't want to touch it because she's running for Senate. Hey, if you're going to become a senator, Attorney General, if you're going to run for senator, then take care of this corruption that we have here in the San Joaquin Valley. Because you represent the people of California, and you were sworn the oath to follow the rules and to go after this corruption. You know, I was listening to the radio on Dog Talk, and I was hearing the chief of police from Fresno police. The chief of police was saying, "Hey, our main turn to stop corruption." Well, sir, I'm trying to fight corruption here. And I'm asking help from Attorney General from the state of California. Now, she told me, her staff told me to go get the FBI involved. Now, before, I'm asking for the people of the state of California and people from other states, the 49 states, to come in and give me a helping hand on this corruption that we have here in the valley. To stand up. Because each of these persons, like judges, were sworn under oath to follow the rules. That California Highway Patrol in uniform, he stood up against corruption at the workers' comp. He told that supervisor, hey, I'm a California Highway Patrol and I got to go by the law. He is entitled to the transfer papers. Now, these transfer papers, workers' comp, were tampered. They were tampered, and that's against the law at workers' comp. They tampered with the transfer papers. And it took 2 hours and a half just for them to receive the money. Now, we have the judge doing a false report to the state board. And the state board, when I got there, they sent me to the 16th floor, and then back to the 6th, back to the 17th. It was just a runaround. Finally, I got a hold of the judge. He finally admitted that the judge did lie in the paperwork. Now, we got corruption through workers' comp. We got corruption through OSHA. OSHA is supposed to be for safety. This district manager in charge of Fresno Madera County. But he didn't do his job because he let 2 young kids die. Because if he would have did his job, those 2 young kids would have been alive. Now, there was no police report, no OSHA, no investigation, nothing. I'm asking the people of California, the people in the valley, to stand up against corruption. And I'm asking Channel 47, Channel 30, Channel 24, Channel 26, Channel 21, La Raza Mexicana. I went to you guys, asked for help, and you guys turned me back, you turned me down, because you said you didn't want to touch that because there's too much corruption. Well, hey, not everybody's afraid to go head on against corruption. We got to stand up, and justice got to come through. These people at the workers' comp confess. 6 people perjured themselves, 2 false reports. They go tamper with the transfer paper. That's against the law. The state board tried to cover up for that judge, and they admitted that he did lie in the paper. He did perjury. I asked for a jury. May the 2nd, they didn't show up. The party, they set up that date, they didn't show up, they didn't call in, you went by default. On May the 29th, female judge, another judge tell me, hey, they did you wrong, go back and appeal it. September the 6th, I show up, another judge tell me you will never get to a jury because I will stop you. And if you get by me, I will notify the other judge, and we had you like that for 7 years. So what do you think? I mean, you might well give up. That's corruption. He violated my constitution and threatened me. Now, how many more people out there this happened to? There's got to be a lot of people. A lot of people will give up, but I'm not. I'm a fighter because I'm entitled to justice. Now, all these judges and OSHA, everybody will swear under oath to follow the rules. Instead of following the rules, they broke the rules, where insurance and company could influence people to look the other way. Let me give you an example. Madera Hospital, where I went, where I was sent to when I got burned. Now, Madera Hospital lost my medical records. They made it clear to me that they lost them. 5 years went by. On 6/23/2010, I called in again, the phone. A young girl happened to find them. She had she hit the computer. She found my medical records. She had them in her hand. She goes, Mr. Flores, I got your medical records here in your hand, on my hand, Mr. Flores. I said, please do not lose them. It was at 2:35, 6/23. And all of a sudden, she goes, Mr. Flores, but I get out at 3. I said, please do not lose them. She goes, I'm not going to lose them. I got them here in my hand, Mr. Flores. But I get out at 3. I said, talk to your manager, see if you can stay late, but please do not lose the paper. So all of a sudden, she, 20 minutes went by. I called her up. She goes, Mr. Flores, your paperwork got lost. You know what I mean? Yeah. When she went to see her manager, she lost the papers. Now, that young girl, maybe she got terminated. I don't think she's there no more in Madera Hospital. Now, I sent the state down there. The state went out there, and the state of California wrote them out. Wrote them out. So I said to myself, well, I'm going to take Madera Hospital to court so they could give me my papers. So they won't do that to nobody else. So I did my papers in January. The company did theirs, the lawyers did their paperwork. We had court in January. The judge told me, Mr. Flores, your case is going to be heard in September, October, but you got to hang in there. And I noticed you got copies from the state. These papers from the state, that's enough to win the case. And all of a sudden, he goes, okay. So January comes by, February, March, and we're still in court. March, April. April, that judge dismissed it. And I said, Your Honor, how you going to dismiss it? Can you tell me they got to you? He goes, what do you mean they got to me? I said, well, Your Honor, you told me in January to hang in there for September to October. I'm going to have my day in court. Now, if you're going to dismiss it, Your Honor, how come you didn't dismiss it in January? Now, the paper from the state, the paperwork from the state, that's enough to win the case, Your Honor. He goes, I don't want to hear about it. So I left because I didn't want to, I knew that they got to him, and I knew there was corruption in the system. Now, my medical records are still there in Madera Hospital. But they won't bring it out because they know if it comes out of the company and insurance, the thing, they have the statement from the doctor and they don't want that to show up. Just like OSHA. OSHA, when somebody get injured and the company don't report in 24 hours, it's automatic fine. When OSHA sent the field guy in 11:03 to find the company, the only thing I heard from district manager is we dropped the ball. What he meant by dropping the ball is corruption. Now, I went to Attorney General, I sent her 61 pages. Now, I'm asking for Attorney General to do her job, to stand up against this corruption here in the Valley, and to overturn the verdict when these 6 people perjured themselves, 2 false reports, and they tampered. Now, I'm asking for FBI to get involved. Don't forget, 2 young kids died, so there got to be a full investigation. There was no police report, nothing. Now, just my case itself show all the corruption there is. Now, it's not just happening to me, it's happening to other people out here in the valley. Now, I'm asking Attorney General, State of California, to come in and go after this corruption before she goes and go up to become a senator. And I'm asking FBI to get involved, to look at this case and get these people for what they did. And I'm asking the other 49 states to come in and give me a helping hand. Now, my income right now is zero. Income is zero. Because I got second, third degree burn. I'm not receiving no income. I've been fighting this for 10 years. Now, how am I surviving? Well, I got my brothers, my sisters, they kind of help me out here and there. Okay, I'm surviving because there's a food bank, and thank God there was a food bank. I waited 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to go out there and wait in line until 10 o'clock to receive some food. Now, that's how I've been surviving all this time. My income is zero. But the reason why these people did it to me, I got burned, and they messed up my life. Now, I'm fighting not just for myself, but for other people out there that went through what I'm going through. And not only that, OSHA is supposed to be for safety. How many more people are dying out there? These 2 young kids could have been alive if they would have did their job. Now I'm asking for help. I'm asking other states of California. State of California, I'm asking for other states, the 49 states, like Texas, Alabama, Florida, Michigan. I'm asking for help from them to give me a helping hand against this corruption. And to push Attorney General to do her job and to get the FBI involved in this corruption here in the San Joaquin Valley. Because the people here in the valley got to stand up against corruption. In the court system, these judges that rely to follow the rules, there's some are breaking them. Because the insurance and company could influence people, judges, to look the other way. There's something wrong. When they could stop a California detective from doing her job, there's something wrong there. I'm asking for help from other states to help me and to get involved in this corruption that we have here in the San Joaquin Valley, for justice to come through. Now, my name is Miguel Flores. My address is 1585 Welty, it's W-E-L-T-Y Avenue in Firebaugh, California, 93622. I appreciate it if you guys give me a helping hand and send me a lawyer or help with a lawyer or somebody that ain't afraid to go against corruption. And I appreciate it if you guys can help out and we can get justice to come through in this San Joaquin Valley.